Hello and welcome, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here and an honor to be part of this summit. Um, you know, my talk is around celebrating our resilience. Resilient for me is around learning, growing, and expanding. And when Natalia reached out to me and we were discussing this summit, her bold idea to make it become a reality, 100 powerful black women in a summit, is extraordinary. And, acknowledge her for her vision to make it become a reality. I'm sure it couldn't have been easy, but she managed with her team and the relationships that she's got to actually make it happen. Resilience for me as black women over the years, over centuries, our ancestors, being able to navigate around the system and really know the rules of engagement with resilience. The first thing for me is around relationships. It's who we surround ourselves with. It's the people we are really engaging with that enable us. There are some naysayers, but if you got some good people in your corner, you will be able to accomplish anything. People is a key thing. The superpower is the people, is our community. I was born up, to understand the whole thing around community, and who you surround yourself with is so important. So my invitation to you today is to really look at who you surround yourself with. So before we really go into celebrating our resilience, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Jamaica, in a rural part of Jamaica, where resilience was everything. Didn't have any running water, didn't have any electric, but you know what? People were very, very resilient in terms of what they do. See, my grandmother, she was so creative and so innovative. That lady, she could turn anything into a meal. She could take her handmade fashion, as she would say. I see her, feed children in the community with one sweet. What she would do, she'd put this one sweet into a towel and she would crush it and made sure that every child that passed get a bit of that sweet. So from her experience and, seeing her enabled me to understand what it's like to be a contribution and to make a difference. Yep, I'm the mother of one child, a daughter, and she's doing extraordinarily well at the minute, and I'm really proud of her. And yeah, I was a single mother at 18, so I had to know how to navigate myself around the system. I work full time, and what I had to do is to make sure, organize myself and planning. So that's how I was able to navigate myself and really cultivate the resilience. So, I had to make sure I get her to daycare, work full time. And, this was the 70s. So I had to be really resilient in terms of what I do, especially working full time and being a full time mother as well. That was tough. And, also making sure that, by the time I was 24, I bought my first property. And so, again, having a mortgage is not easy, and working full time and having a child is not easy. So, really understand what it takes around celebrating our resilience as black women. We're very, very creative and very resourceful. I used to see women, for example, in order to navigate themselves around the system and to get themselves mortgages, they would meet in each other's front room and they would really and truly through the partner system, which is a structure that enable us to thrive when it comes to our finance. So for example, you know, 15 women would get together and they would throw a sum of money every week, and then that would give one person every week a certain amount of money so you can go off and do the things that you really want to do. So it was really about community and supporting each other, and who you have around you is really important. The other thing is, you know, I am a teacher, and I knew from a very young age that I like to learn and develop. And why I say I'm a teacher, I had a very great teacher from when I was in Jamaica, and I never forget that. And they do say you never forget your teacher who made a difference to you. So her attitude to learning empower me to want to learn, and I now teach. I'm also an entrepreneur. I've been in business now for 25 years, which is building leaders, black leaders, to be the best they can be and to really go after what is it they actually want. And if you're going to do anything, it's going to be a challenge. It's never easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And even this summit, what Natalia has put on, it's not an easy task. Many summits have been put on, but it's been different. There's something different about this one. And so when I look at the caliber of women and this summit, I know I can see what's possible even for myself. And to be one of the speakers, it's an amazing accomplishment. The other thing that I am really, really passionate about, for me, it's community. We come together, and it's important, to have a community relationship, because with the relationship, it enable you to see the future. When people dream together and really support each other, you can do anything. The other thing is understanding that when you are with the right people and surround yourself with the right people, you know where the opportunities are, because people will talk about you when you're not in the room. The relationships, many opportunities that I've had came from me not being there, but people that know me that made a difference. Your relationship is important. It also gives you confidence. People around you, cheerleaders, telling you you can do it. It's important. It's around celebrating those resilience. I mean, I've won many awards for my work, and it's because other people nominates me. Half the time, I have no idea who is nominating me. But again, it's those relationships that made a difference. And when I left my corporate job to start my business, One Uncle Clap, which is a proverb, a Jamaican proverb, and I'm sure many other community use it in another way. It's really about collective responsibility on work and community and partnership. And I practice that on an everyday basis. It's really about the people, again, who you surround yourself with. If you're going to be resilient, you cannot be doing it on your own. It takes courage, and when you have the right people around you, they build you up, anything is possible. And so One Uncle Clap, for me, it's a mantra, it's what I practice, and it's a proverb. So when I left my corporate job and decided to work for myself, my first contract was working with 20 black boys in a school that wasn't engaging effectively. And so, again, to really get them to be resilient and to step into their greatness, I started a breakfast club which challenged them to come into the schools at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so, if before that, previously, they would turn up whenever. They never get to school on time. And so because I put a structure in place around excellence and realize that they have to push themselves, they get to the breakfast club at 8 o'clock. I've spent 6 years with these boys working in the school, and interestingly, you know, every one of them actually got A to C's in their GCSEs apart from one. And it's amazing, you know, when you have a structure, when you have a system in place, when you have people who believe in you, when you have a group of people who are pushing for you, you know, made a great difference to these boys. The school at the time when I started was getting 16% in the 86 GCSEs. When I left the school 6 years later, the school was getting 68%. And why is that? Because they have a structure. They have somebody who believes in them, can make a difference. Also, they became motivated to get to the breakfast club at 8 o'clock. So they never ever leave, never ever not get to school on time. The structures and systems and preparation that makes the difference. When I was looking for resources to really teach them around culture, identity, and storytelling, I couldn't find anything that represent us as a community, as Black people, really. So I reflect on what is it my grandmother used to teach me, and about resilience, and you know, all our stories are captured in our proverbs. They're leadership tools, and you know, thousands of us were brought up on these proverbs. We didn't know exactly what they meant. The wisdom in them is amazing. Things Mama used to say is what I call them. And when I envisaged creating these cards, which is celebrating who we are and reclaiming our narrative, because so many people have negative connotation around our proverbs, I decided to use them as a leadership tools. And so many people tell me there was no market. Many people tell me they were too black. Many people say they won't sell. But I never listen, you know, because this is about us, for us. And it's about celebrating what is really ours. And, you know, when you look at personal development books and you read around leadership, it's the same thing. You know, there's two types of conversations. So that's why when I created them, on one side you have Jamaican proverbs, and the next side you go standard English. So for example, you know, you'll get puss and dog know of the same luck, which is a Jamaican proverbs. And the opposite side, you get, you know, comparison. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. A puss is a puss and a dog is a dog. And recognizing that they're two different things. Comparison. Sometimes we look at other people's accomplishments and think, oh my God, will I ever get there? You know, but my mother always used to say, you know, never grudge anyone for what they have, because you have no idea what they had to do in order to get what they have. Comparison take up too much of our time, you know. So my request to you is really looking at, where are you comparing yourself with others? Your journey is different to mine, and my journey is different to yours. So what we can do is complement each other, you know, tap into each other, find out what is it that I've done, and you know, ask me any questions. Quite happy to share that with you in terms of understanding what did it take to create the cards. You know, what did I do in order to be in business for 25 years? What did I do in order to move from the UK to Jamaica? You know, I now live between the UK and Jamaica and running a very successful retreat. You know, be curious about each other. You know, sometimes we see somebody doing what we want to do, and instead of reaching out and being curious, you know, we just not do it. So again, a tip for me, from me, it's be curious. in that sense. When I met Natalia and I really see who she is and what she's up to, such a powerful woman, I said to her, let's create something together. Let's work in partnership together. And, she agrees. And here we are today working collaboratively together on this summit. It's amazing how when you value people, and, in this relationship, the biggest thing there is trust. If you have trust, you can be anything and you can go anywhere you want to go. The other thing is ask for help. So many of us, we don't ask for help because we think we can do it by ourselves. But if you really want to be successful and be significant, it's about tapping into other people's knowledge and recognize that, yep, what you know don't grow you. It's other people that will enable you. Somebody will say, have you considered this? Have you considered this? The other thing that, as a community, we have not been socialized to tap into other people. There is a thing about don't tell other people your business. But if you want to be successful, we need support. You need to tap into whether it's a coach, whether it's a mentor, whether it's somebody you trust, or whatever it is. Because, as I said, what you know don't grow you. It's about tapping into other people's knowledge. That's why so many books have been written to enable people to read what other people have written. People share their knowledge, share their experience, and it's us to really recognize what that is and tap into that. The other thing is, be curious. Really be curious about each other. As black women, we are phenomenal. And I don't think there is another person or another race or another anyone on the planet which is like us. When you think, for example, the Windrush generation, when so many of them came from different parts of the world, from the Caribbean and Africa, wherever they came from, it's really about how they took themselves on. It was hard for many of them, looking after their children, looking after their family, taking care of themselves, and so many of them, they give more than they ever received. It was always about taking care of other people. That's one of the things we do as black women as well. We spend so many times taking care of other people and not taking care of ourselves. So my invitation to you is look at where you need to develop yourself. Look at where you need to take care of yourself. Look at where you need to give yourself more TLC. Look at areas in your life that's not working, and what if you was to stop and just give yourself a break, take some time out for yourself. I used to see the older Windrush generation women, they just didn't take time out for self, and it's our time now to really start thinking about how do I take care of me? How do I look after me? And celebrate our resilience. One of the things I have discovered as well is that, we don't celebrate enough ourselves. We don't take time out to think, wow, I got through that one. Sometimes it's like, oh, you acknowledge a person and it's oh that, because it might seem simple to you. It doesn't mean that it's simple to other people. And you might see somebody and another woman actually, and you might compliment them on the way how they have their hair, or the way how they put their clothes together in a very creative way. And then you come along and you acknowledge them, and they will say, oh, this whole thing, I've had it for, and not being able to be in a space to really acknowledge what the gift that you have and how you're able to use that gift in a very simple way. I mean, you take, for example, cooking. I remember, there are times like with my mom, and, I would say to her, how did you know how much salt to put into this? How did you know how to do that? And she said, oh, you know, as if to say it's nothing. But it's not nothing. It's our natural gift. It's our natural intuition. It's our natural way of being. Sometimes we take what we're good at for granted. And if we are about celebrating our resilience way back from the continent to the Caribbean to the States, every time I come across a black woman, she's on a mission, doing something, and always creating something and making something happen, whether it's cake, whatever it is. Our creativity is phenomenal in that sense. This summit, when I look at the speakers, when I look at what so many of you black women have accomplished, it really inspired me to really carry on. And so I just want to acknowledge each one of you on this summit today to say thank you for stepping up. Thank you for acknowledging that, yes, you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to expand. That's why you're here. Things are changing. And the world we're living in right now is a very challenging one. And so we need community. We need each other. We need to recognize that we can't do it alone and ask for help in that sense. So there's 3 things that I have really used to navigate myself around the system, whether it's in business, whether it's friends, relationship, or whatever it is. The biggest one, start off with my desire. What is it I really want? What is it I really want? I ask myself the question, what will make the difference to me? And sometimes we say we want something, but how committed are we to it? Commitment is the key. How committed. Like, for example, I'll give you around understanding that resilience. At my house in Jamaica, I have a tree, lovely tree, and it's amazing. I'm learning from nature around commitment. The leaves at the minute are shredding, and I have to sweep the yard 3-4 times for the day, because the leaves are just coming. So my question to you would be, what are you committed to? That makes a difference. Frustrating as it is, but it doesn't stop me. It's really being persistent in that sense. And so the next one, it's really knowing where the opportunities are coming from. So network, 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 network. Never stop networking. You never know where the opportunities are coming from. And half the time you don't know where those opportunities are. It's the people who you surround yourself with. Network in that sense. And the third one, it's acknowledge your accomplishments, no matter what it is. It could be that you wake up in the morning and you're full of life and you motivated, can't just start. Because some people, they just don't have any motivation in that sense. Just being on this summit tells me around your motivation. You're somebody who play a big game. You're somebody who wants more. You're somebody who is ambitious. You're somebody who wants to make a difference. You're somebody that play a hard game, to accomplish anything. It takes commitment, it takes tenacity, it takes focus, to get to where you need to get to. There were times when, I was in London and I knew I have a mortgage and I have a young baby. And the reality for me was I wasn't going to be on the street. So if it means I have to get up early, walk through those snow, regardless of what it may be, you know, I was committed to make sure that I got money to pay the mortgage. Challenges as things may be, you know, commitment is the key. So you being here demonstrate to me how committed you are and the difference you want to make in that sense. So I hope my talk inspire you to recognize that anything is possible if you believe, and everything starts from a desire. How badly do you want it, and you know, what are you prepared to do to make it happen in that sense. Celebrating our resilience, you know, every year since creating the cards, I had an event, and since COVID, and it was about our common ties, our commonality, and it's around celebrating our resilience. Celebrating our resilience to me is not just about something you talk about. It's who you be, who you show up, who are you as a leader, the difference that you make, and understanding that, you know, it's not easy. You know, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. There's nothing easy in life, you know, and so it's not so much about working hard, it's working smart. Who are you associating with? It's important for you to really understand that, you know. And when black women get together, you know, regardless of what the naysayers are saying, I know that we have the answer. We are problem solvers, always have and always will be. You know, it's understand that. And sometimes we get in our own way. Sometimes when opportunity comes, we don't go after it. You know, I'm working with some leaders, and I'll ask them, black leaders, you know, who are you as a leader? And you will hear, I'm not a leader. I'm not a leader. Everyone's a leader if they choose to be. You know, everyone can be a leader if they choose to be. And understand that. So, before I end this talk, there's 3 things I really invite you to really look at. Your commitment. You know, what game are you actually playing? You know, I am really clear that commitment is everything. Doesn't matter what. There was a situation where I had a meeting with a lady, and when I wake up in the morning, there you were, you know, snowing outside, it was raining and everything else, and I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, I really want to cancel. But because I gave my word and I promised that I was going to meet this lady, I decided to wade through the snow, cold as it was, wet as it was, and I went to meet her. And I'm really glad I did, because that conversation ended up with me having a contract worth quite a lot of money. If I hadn't gone, I would have missed that. So it's about really, what are you committed to? What's your desire? Everything starts from your desire. And the other thing is visualize it. Visualize how you want your life to be. And you'll be surprised how everything comes into place. There is a situation, they say, that what you focus on is what you get. So for example, you know, your friend might have gone out and buy a green Persia car, and you've never seen it before. You've never seen this car. But once your friend bought the car, you start seeing green Persia car around. That applies to everything. What you focus on is what you get. So it's commitment, focus, desire, you know. And really and truly, this is my talk to you. If you want to find out more about how I created the cards, how I help people to turn their bold ideas into reality, how people make the difference to what they're doing, you know, feel free to reach out to me. And, you know, I just can't suggest enough what it takes in order to celebrate us. It's hard. It's a challenge. You know, if you're up to something, you know, but you have to celebrate. Even if it's a bar of chocolate. You know, give yourself that opportunity to really and truly say to yourself, I deserve this. You know, buy yourself flowers, buy yourself the best perfume, you know, regardless. Some people are going to like you. The other thing is that when you raise your head above the parapet, there's so many people, you know, who is no longer going to be your friends, no longer want to be your friend. You know, when you decide to do something different, you're going to leave some people behind. And the other thing is, the people who starts with you are not the people who end up with you. You know, your circle will change the more you grow. So for example, you might have a friend who you haven't seen for 6 years. They might say, oh, you've changed. You know, you're supposed to change. You are supposed to change. That's the reality of it. You know, just say thank you. I got it. Yes, you know, a change. And that's what it's all about. You know, it's learning, growing, expanding. You know, resilience to me, as I said, it's like an elastic band. You have to stretch according to the bundle that you have. You know, you have to keep on learning, you have to keep on growing, you have to keep on expanding. You know, I'm always looking for opportunity where I can learn. The other thing is as well, look for mentors. You don't necessarily have to know them. You know, there are many women who I follow. I read their books, I look at their content, I learn so much from just reading about them, which inspire me. And you know, sometimes they will share things, they will say things, just what I wanted to hear, that makes a difference. So it's about being curious about what other people are doing in that sense. So the summit for me, I'm looking for it to be around for the longest of time. You know, this is Natalia's legacy, which is empowering us to be the best we can be as black women, you know, and acknowledge her for that. So Natalia, I thank you for your vision. I thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your tenacity, wanting to make the difference. It's no easy task, but learning and development is really worth it, exciting in that sense. You know, at my retreat, people come because they have a vision. They want to make it reality in that sense. And so, you know, if you want to find out more about my retreat as well, you know, please feel free to reach out. This is what we're about, you know, here to make a difference. Learn from each other, you know, make a difference. Too many people have told us, you know, we're not good enough, you know, we can't do, we can't be, you know. So for example, we've always been told, you know, there's something wrong with us, there's something wrong with our hair, there's something wrong with us, our body, there's something wrong, there's always something wrong. Now is the time for us to say everything is right with us. We are doing phenomenal things and making the difference. So on that note, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Let's continue this journey. I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to listen to the other speakers and hear what they have to say. Reach out to me anytime, whether on LinkedIn or send me an email or send me a text or whatever works for you. Buy a box of my cards, things Mama used to say. I think we should all have a box of things Mama used to say. The wisdom in these cards are amazing, you know. So for example, one of the proverbs around resilience is around, you know, it's hard, you know, rain or fall, but dot is still tough. And what I actually mean is you are, everything you try is a failure. And so many times, you know, we try and we try and we try, but never give up. Just keep on going, because one day there will be a breakthrough. It doesn't matter how hard it gets, you know. In every challenges that we have, there's opportunities. There's always an opportunity in any problem if you really look for it. So I thank you again for being here. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Any comment, drop me any comment. I'll answer them. So you take care and wish you all the best for the rest of the summit. Take care. Bye.